Good evening. I'd like to say this is our Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of Monday, November 8th, 2021. I'd like to welcome everybody to this meeting. Our first item on the agenda is, if you'd all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And at this point in time, I'd like to introduce the members of the commission that are here this evening. To my far right is Jamie Hine, who's an alternate on the commission. Moving down to Jamie's left is Jeff Cohan, commission member. And to my immediate right is James Fitzsimmons, also a commission member. To my immediate left is J.P. Benoit, who's our vice chairperson of the commission. And next to J.P. is Davey Parent, who's a alternate on the commission. And I welcome Mr. Parent. He was just recently appointed as an alternate to the commission. So we appreciate you volunteering to be on the commission. At the table to my left is Cheryl Ann Tubby, who is our recording secretary, and next to Cheryl Ann is Kevin Pagini, who is our town planner, and I'm Jim Seichter. I'm the chairperson of the commission. Our next order of business is consideration for approval of the minutes of our October 13th, 2021 meeting. Any commission members with any comments, corrections, additions to the minutes? And if there's none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of October 13, 2021 for the Wallingford Planning and Zoning Commission.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Fitzsimmons. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'll abstain because I was not at that meeting. Moving on to our agenda items. Just a couple announcements as far as items that will not be heard this evening. First is a continuation of our public hearing for a zoning text amendment on data centers by special permit in the IX and the I-5 zones. That will be continued, and we expect it'll be continued to our December meeting. And the next item is a new business, item number 2, which is a site plan self-storage facility, South Colony Road, 1074 LLC at 1074 South Colony Road. The applicant has requested no action on that application. So again, those two items will not be heard. Which brings us to the first item that will be heard this evening, which is number 3 on our agenda, new business. It's a site plan wellness and fitness center, Dow Enterprises, 316 Main Street, Yalesville. And which gentleman would like to note all correspondence for the record? Mr. Benoit? Mr. Benoit, if you'd please note all correspondence for the record. And while he's doing that, if the applicant would please come forward and begin preparing for his or her presentation.
Mr. Chairman, we have a internal departmental referral from the fire marshal dated 10/14/21. We have a interdepartmental referral from the environmental planner dated 10/18/2021. We have a memo from Kevin Pagini, town planner, dated October 2022 to Dow Enterprise. We have a interdepartmental referral from, Eric Kruger, senior engineer, dated October 29th, 2021. We have a memo from interdepartmental referral from the town engineer to planning and zoning, 10/25/21. We have, I believe this is part of it. This is part of it. Okay. Yes. We have a site plan revision dated November 2nd, 2021. Office.
Thank you, Mr. Benoit. And if the applicant and or its representative would please introduce themselves and begin their presentation.
Michael Dow, Dow Enterprises. We are a company has...
Mr. Dow, if you could pull the microphone just a little bit closer to you, I'd appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we are planning on trying to do a wellness center and fitness center, focusing on working with clients to get them to move better and be more fit and healthy. We have the building itself, we are suggesting to take the drive-through part off, add a small addition to the left, which will actually bring the sight lines closer, less away from the neighboring businesses. Also redo the site as far as the parking lot directly, so we'll add a couple extra spaces. The traffic flow will stay the same. I believe we had sent over a revision in regards to the curvature to go around the building to make sure that it's safe and good for everybody. I'm not sure what else to add.
Just for the benefit of members of the public that may be watching this eventually,
Sure.
I assume you have your plans in front of you. I wonder if you
Yes.
could just put them up on the on that easel, and maybe the gentleman next to you could just hold them so just members of the public that may eventually be watching this
Thank
will
you.
be able to see what you're discussing and what we're discussing. And I think really first with the site plan, if you would, sir.
You know what, Billy, I think this might be it.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's also one at the lower table. And you just need to turn it on.
So good evening. My name is Bill Perfetto. I'm the owner of Perfetto Construction. We're working for Dow Enterprise. This actually, I think we have a revised plan of this.
Right, we sent that over to.
Sent it in. I'm not sure if you guys, this is the first copy that we've sent in.
We have the revised plan. I
Okay,
think
so
if you
on-
put,
on the
I think
revision-
if you put that one up there, the revised plan, I think it'll be a little bit too small for
Yeah.
everybody.
So I'm sorry about that. So the revision actually, we have this 14-foot addition coming off. Currently is a drive-through, which was Key Bank's drive-through coming through. It comes out past this concrete island right here. We're bringing it back within that 14 feet. It is going longer. I think right now it's at this jog. I don't recall the exact footage that's going back to the building. The revision that we had made per the request of the town was this island right here was removed. We brought this island back to the end to kind of stop any traffic flow that may be hitting the side of the building. So that's what Mr. Dow is referring to.
Thank you. I take it that's the extent of your presentation?
That's really it. I think that we're, taking the structure that was up there and removing it and putting this new addition on that's much smaller.
Okay. Thank you. I guess just have one or two quick questions. On those plans, I can see where you put the building additions, the two small building, relatively small building additions. But then there's also in the back, there's what I call some cross-hatching that I'm not quite sure what that is.
So that's for handicap, accessibility. So if the handicap van pulls in, there's no parking right here.
Okay. And then your snow shelf, where you, when we have snow, where are you planning on putting the snow?
So we haven't changed any of the plan itself throughout the perimeter of the property. I don't know if you're familiar with this property or not, but there's plenty of area back in this area for pushback.
Okay. All right. Before I go out to the, ask commission members for any comments, Mr. Pagini,
No, I have no further comments.
excuse me, Mr. Pagini, I'm sorry. Keep getting that wrong. I apologize. Commission members with questions for the applicant. Seeing no commission members, this is not a public hearing, but we do give the members of the public the opportunity to comment. Any members of the public who would like to comment, please come forward and name and address. And seeing none, bring it back to the applicant. If you'd like to make any final comments, you're certainly not compelled to do that.
Looking forward to moving forward with the project.
There you go. Okay, at this particular point in time, and I would ask Mr. Hine, as Mr. Allenson's not here this evening, if you would vote in place of Mr. Allenson. So with that, I would Entertain a motion on the application.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve application 221-21, Site Plan Wellness and Fitness Center, Dow Enterprise, 316 Main Street, Yalesville. Site plan request to add an approximately 700 square foot addition and a change of use to operate a physical therapy practice located at 316 Main Street on plans entitled Site Plan 316 Main Street, Wallingford, Connecticut, dated September 14, 2021, and revised to November 2nd, 2021, subject to 1, comments in interoffice memorandum from Eric Kruger, Senior Engineer, Water and Sewer Division, to the Planning and Zoning Department, dated October 29th, 2021, and comments from the Fire Marshal's Office, dated October 14th, 2021.
Thank you. We have a motion on the application. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Fitzsimmons. Voting beginning with Mr. Hine, please.
Yes to approve. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And yes, your application has been approved. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Brings us up to item number 4, which is Connecticut General Statutes and 8-24. It's a possible purchase of a portion of property, 95.281 acres at 264 Williams Road for open space purposes. And again, Mr. Benoit, if you'd please note all correspondence for the record.
Mr. Chairman, I have on my desk a memo from William Dickinson, Jr., Mayor, to the Wallingford Planning and Zoning Commission, dated October 18th, 2021. I have a memo from Neil Amwake, PE, MBA, General Manager, Water and Sewer Division for Wallingford, dated October 20th, 2021. I have a PowerPoint presentation, acquisition of a portion of 364 Williams Road, Wallingford. Dated November 3rd, 2021. That's all I got here.
Thank you, Mr. Benoit. And if the applicant would please introduce himself and begin his presentation.
Neil Amwake, General Manager for the Wallingford Water and Sewer Divisions.
And if, sir, if you begin your presentation, I suspect you want us to move out of the way because you're going to blind us. Is that correct?
Yes, I will wait. So good evening. You received this PowerPoint in your packet, but because of the graphics were small, I just thought we'd take an opportunity to show them up on the big screen. So this is regarding an acquisition of a portion of 264 Williams Road in Wallingford. Specifically, after the parcel is subdivided, it will be known as Parcel B, which is comprised of 95.281 acres. So being a type A engineer, I always have an agenda. We'll go through the location, the benefits, the passive recreational opportunities, the timeline, open space, and watershed land acquisition grant, and then questions and discussion. So this is an aerial view of 264 Williams Road. We are looking west towards Williams Road in right around 1230. You can see the existing yellow farmhouse there. And so parcel A, once it is split, is to be retained by the current owners. It will be comprised of 13.157 acres. And then parcel B is to be acquired by the town of Wallingford. That is 95.281 acres. So this is very small. It's projected, it gets a little fuzzy. But specifically for the Wallingford, so you can see to the left is parcel A, and then the large parcel is parcel B. You can see there is an 50-foot wide access leading from Williams Road on the left or to the west into the larger portion of parcel B. And why this is significant for the Wallingford Water Division is the Muddy River, which is highlighted in the center, flows through the property down to Mackenzie Reservoir. And so when we locate this parcel on the open space map for the town of Wallingford, you can see the nearby and adjacent open space properties. And because the legend is a little difficult to read, I will highlight in either the light green by themselves or the light green with the red dots. Those are current town of Wallingford open space properties. South of the subject parcel in pink is private land with development rights held by the state of Connecticut, and the large parcels in brown to the east or to the right of 264 Williams Road is private club or sportsman's organization. So the benefits of acquiring parcel B of 264 Williams Road is the majority of the land will be classified as Class 1 watershed land after acquisition by the town, with the balance being classified as Class 2 watershed lands. So the entire 95.281 acres will be classified as either Class 1 or Class 2 watershed lands following acquisition. The Muddy River is a tributary to the Mackenzie Reservoir. The Muddy River is rated a Class AA watercourse by the Connecticut DEEP, and its surface waters designated for existing or proposed drinking water supplies. And just to give you some geographics, the Muddy River flows approximately 2,500 feet south from the property into Mackenzie Reservoir. So that is less than 1/2 mile to the headwaters of Mackenzie Reservoir, which is our primary drinking water reservoir. And I really like this map. I will give a thanks and an acknowledgement to the town of Wallingford Engineering Department for providing the mapping. And so 264 Williams Road is in the center of our watershed protection district for Wallingford, and that is the light gray. The south gray to the southern portion is watershed protection for the South Central Regional Water Authority. We touched base on it. The tributary area to Mackenzie Reservoir accounts for approximately 75% of the total watershed area tributary to the town's reservoir system. And the surface water supply provides approximately 94% of the public drinking water here in Wallingford that is delivered to the 39,500 residents, businesses, and visitors each day. And the watershed associated with Mackenzie Reservoir is critical for supplying the town with an adequate volume of potable water. And protection of the watershed is one of the Water Division's highest priorities. Acquisition of a portion of 264 Williams Road will protect this undeveloped watershed area from environmental degradation and provide water quality purification in its expansive open and forested areas. And protecting large natural areas on the eastern side of Wallingford is identified as a priority acquisition area in the town of Wallingford's open space plan and in the town's plan of conservation and development. And this parcel complements the functional value of nearby protected open space areas. So on the site, we are planning to allow passive recreational activities, including walking and hiking. There will be scenic viewing, which will be ADA accessible, orienteering, nature photography, cross-country skiing, and stream bank fishing. Here is an aerial view of the parcel. To the right or to the east of the Muddy River in black, you can see some existing walking trails that exist. After acquisition, the town, specifically the Water Division, in conjunction with the Conservation Commission, will be looking to install a walking trail to the west or left of the Muddy River, shown in red. And at the sliver at the north portion is that 50-foot easement with a small parking area. It'll be a gravel parking area. So active recreational activities would be prohibitive on the parcel, including biking, horseback riding, hunting and trapping, and use of motorized vehicles, including ATVs. So once we acquire it, we really need to take a look at the operation and maintenance. And so the Wallingford Water Division will manage the property. It is within our expertise and distinctly in our wheelhouse. We do this already. And the annual budget includes funding for watershed properties maintenance. And again, the Water Division will coordinate with the town of Wallingford Conservation Commission regarding the maintenance of the walking trails. So timeline, last Wednesday evening, the Public Utilities Commission did approve a budget amendment for funds to acquire a portion of 264 Williams Road. Tonight, we are in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission for Connecticut General Statute 8-24. Tomorrow evening, the Town Council will look at two actions. One is a sale, so that is the contract agreement, and the second is the budget amendment. So the Town Council has secondary approval on the PUC budget amendment. And then next Friday, November 19th, will be submission of an open space and watershed land grant program application to the DEEP. And here is an aerial view looking east towards Tri-Mountain. And with that, I will open it up to any questions and discussions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Amway. Commission members with questions? Mr. Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a great idea. Absolutely support this. Just a couple quick questions. I know exactly where the property is, really nice area. Are there existing trails out there now, or are these you're going to put in?
So there is one loop trail to the east or to the right of the Muddy River. That is established. The Water Division and the Conservation Commission would basically work to formalize it, and then we would have to connect it with a new trail from the parking area to the Muddy River.
Okay. And then just my last or second comment. You know, as far as the trail maintenance, are there any, I suppose you'd be working with the Conservation Commission, but any suggested improvements as far as, you know, native plantings? I don't think you're going to do anything with the stream itself.
I would say at this point it's too preliminary to get into those details.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely support this.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Any other members? Mr. Fitzsimmons.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would echo and second Commissioner Cohen's comments. This is, I can't think of better acquisition of open space by the town than for our public drinking water. So congratulations. I too will be supporting this. I have to ask the question because in all your documentation, it's more nosy curiosity. How long has this been in the works?
I would really refer that to the mayor's office and to the Department of Law.
Okay. Understood. When you showed the map, and this is dead center in the middle of the watershed, as you talked about with the engineering map, I'm thinking, you know, why did it take us so long? But obviously, it's probably been in the works for a while, so I will just say I fully support this acquisition. because it is 100% in concert with the town's plan of development, acquisition, and open space. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzsimmons. Other commission members? And I guess I would just echo what the other commission members have said, Mr. Cohen and Mr. Fitzsimmons. I'm certainly very familiar with the property. Probably every other day I ride my bike around that area. So I think it's certainly a very, very attractive property for the town to acquire. Mr. Pagini, any comments that you'd like to make?
Yes, I just want to say that I completely support the application, and I'm also want to request from the commission a submission of a support letter for the Open Space and Watershed Land Grant Program application. That's due on the 19th. So if the commission could provide a letter of support for that grant application, that would be outstanding.
Thank you. And again, this is not a public hearing, but we do give members of the public the opportunity to comment. Any members of the public who would like to comment? And if you would, when you do comment, please your name and address, sir.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Borney. I'm a member of the Conservation Commission, and we were here just in case we needed to support Neil, who does a great PowerPoint presentation and has hit all the facts. But I just want to say the Conservation Commission, too, is thrilled with the idea of the town acquiring this land. It includes this flat hayfield in the front to the muddy river, and then on your aerial photo, you can see it's all wooded east of that, including the wooded floodplain, all the way up to a little trap rock ridge, a talus slope. It's got a perched wetland in there. It's just got amazing natural resource features, and so all these add to the cleansing of the water, but it also provides to the whole town's open space natural resources base. So we're thrilled. We're totally in support, and if you have any natural resource related questions, we're here to help, but Neil did a great job covering the bases there.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none, Mr. Hamwick, if you'd like to make any more final comments, again, you're certainly not compelled to do that. I think you gave a very thorough presentation.
Thank you. I have no further comment.
Good. At this point in time, I would entertain a motion on this request.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we remand the purchase of portion of the property of 95.281 acres at 264 Williams Road for open space purposes for acquisition to, it would be the town council for final approval.
I believe so.
For final approval of this property, and also a letter of support for submission of open space and watershed land grant program application to the DEEP.
Thank you, Mr. Benoit. We have a motion on the on this item. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Fitzsimmons, voting beginning with Mr. Hine.
Yes to approve.
Yes.
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 And yes, the item has been approved. Thank you very much for your presentation, sir.
Great job.
Okay, Mr. Pagini, I'll let you take the wheel, if you would, to continue through the agenda item. And
Yes. So bond releases and reductions. Number 5 is still, we have not received as-built, so that is not going forward for bond release. Discussion and possible action for number 6, election of officers.
on that one, that won't be taking place as Mr. Allison is not here this evening.
Okay. And I just need a chairman's signature on the 2022 schedule of meetings, and that's included in your packets as well.
Sure, I think we may have to have a discussion on that. I know Mr. Fitzsimmons is a very romantic gentleman, and I see that our February meeting is on the 14th. And as we all know, that's Valentine's Day.
Yes.
So would you like to comment on that, or am I putting you on the spot, Mr. Fitzsimmons?
You put me on the spot. No comment.
Okay. Any commission members that have any comments on our schedule of meetings for 2022.
It looked good to me.
Agree.
Okay, so I think certainly we don't need it. Claire, we don't need a motion on this, is that correct? You just need a signature, is that correct, Mr. Pacini?
Correct.
Okay, good. I will sign that. And moving on, sir.
And I included a proposed revised fee schedule in your packets, and just want any discussion or feedback on that. I gave an explanation in the notes, and I can go through.
If you just give us perhaps just a quick rundown,
So essentially, we just restructured it to make it look nicer and be more alphabetically correct. A lot of stuff was sort of out of place on the old one. And we rounded up some of the numbers for the sign permit. That went from 90 to 100, only because people come in and they don't have correct change generally, and sign permits also take a little bit more time. So we just decided to round up on that. Administrative approvals, we've been getting a lot of those, so we decided to round up to 150 on that as well. And we decided to also charge different prices for area variances and use variances. Use variances typically take more time for a zoning enforcement officer, and generally only fall under extraordinary circumstances, so therefore the heightened fee on that one. And also, we wanted to charge more to correct a zoning violation instead of allowing violators to go through the variance process to correct their violations, so they'd be charged more to try to do that. We want them to remediate their violations instead of trying to go through the variance process to correct those violations. That's essentially all that was changed. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Commission members with comments on the proposed changes to our fee schedule? Yes, Ms. Fitzsimmons.
I am generally in favor of the proposed fee structure, but Mr. Pagnini, do you know what's the date of our last fee? Is it really last February was when we changed the fees? It says revised February 18th, 2020.
I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if something was added at that time.
Okay.
We couldn't find out because we looked back and most of the fees haven't changed in a long time.
Yep.
But I don't know the exact nature of the revision.
Okay. And the only other comment through you, Mr. Chairman, is I'm very supportive of the fees structure and the increase. I still question, and I know I've questioned this last time we had the fee structure, what I would consider bargain in Wallingford for a special permit at $550. Special permits generate a lot of activity, a lot of work for your office, a lot of work for the town departments. I'm not trying to discourage anyone from applying for a special permit, but it's not in line to charge $550 for a special permit and the same as a use variance. So something's wrong there. My thought would be, but again, open for discussion, because you opened it up, this special permit should be more.
I agree.
I know years ago, the chairman might recall, we actually, when we were looking at our fee structure, we looked at what other towns were doing. And we've always found we were cheaper. And again, it just, you're not going to recoup cost, and it's not, not to discourage business or people from applying, but are we in line with our neighbors would be the question. So I could support this, but I'd still like to know what a special permit costs in Southington, what a special permit costs in Cheshire, just to make sure, peace of mind, that we're not so far off compared to our neighbors. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzsimmons. Other commission members?
I would agree with that. It would be interesting to see our surrounding towns for that specific one.
Sure, I could do some research. I did check some towns and some were in line, but others were more expensive, so depending on where it was, Some were far higher than we're charging, so especially per square foot. Some in the Hudson Valley were even for 250,000 square foot facilities, somewhere in the line of $100,000. So there were some variations in that.
Okay, so I guess, can we agree then that as far as on this, we'll take no action on this? And we'll wait for Mr. Pagini to be in a position next month to give a proposed item, but as well as to provide the commission with the range of fees that comparable towns may charge.
Just a quick question, and it's just more of a question. Do we have to give 30 days notice, or is there any, so if we do this in December, does it impact to January 1? Does it push it 30 days? What, is there a waiver, or?
We just have to, it has to get adopted by the ordinance committee.
The ordinance committee.
So whenever they meet, that's when it will get adopted.
Okay.
Any other commission members? Okay, thank you. Moving on.
Administrative approvals, any questions on those? I think we only had one survey waiver. Then the ZBA decisions also are in your packet. The ZBA notice for this next week's meeting as well, and the zoning enforcement report that has gone back to spreadsheet format.
Sure, let's go back to the ZBA as far as any questions for the decisions at October 18th, and then as far as notice for the November 15th meeting. Any commission members have any questions on either one of those items? Okay, seeing none, and then we get down to the zoning enforcement report. Questions on that? Yeah, Mr. Pagini, I have one, and it's on page 6. It's the stockpiling illegal. It's 384 South Colony Street, cheap auto rental. I know this has been kicking around for probably 4 or 5 years, and if you could perhaps do a little research on that, because I know that there was, some discussion at a meeting several years ago between the commission and the attorney, and the attorney for cheap auto rental. I believe there was some agreement that was reached in court that the applicant was supposed to do various things, and I don't think if any of those things were done. So if you could just look into that and see what may or may not be going on, because again, it was an item that was discussed probably 4 or 5 years ago at a commission meeting with the applicant, with the applicant's attorney, and again, I believe there was some either court involvement or something in that line. So if you could perhaps just refresh me and perhaps rest of the commission members on that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Anyone else? All right, I'm looking at the time here. Apparently we were planning on adjourning at 8 o'clock. I guess we still have about 18 minutes to sit around and talk. At this particular point in time, I don't see that there's any other items on the agenda. If any other commission members have anything to discuss, so at this point in time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adjourn the Wallingford Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Monday, November 8th, 2021.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Fitzsimmons. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Anyone's opposed? Thank you very much. We're adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you, Mrs. Tubby.